Hi, and welcome to another edition of Rabbi K's Cuts, visual blasts of wisdom on the weekly Torah portion. This week's portion, Parsha Terumah, discusses the construction of the tabernacle, the portable home, so to speak, that the Jewish people constructed for God's presence in the desert. One of the artifacts that was placed in the tabernacle and very, very delicately and specifically constructed was the golden menorah. We, of course, know of the menorahs from the Hanukkah days, but the menorah is a very ancient and very central artifact within the temple service. The verse, when it talks about constructing this menorah, has a very interesting way of presenting it. It says, "You shall make a menorah out of pure gold. Hammered out shall the menorah be made." Now, what's interesting about this is that God is telling Moses, go and build this menorah, but then at the end of the verse, it seems to say, hammered out the menorah shall be made, switching over to the passive voice. And the sages tell us that the passive voice comes to indicate the fact that in the end result, Moshe himself was actually incapable of really building this menorah. It was such a challenging task. It was too great and too heavy and too difficult for him to construct on his own. And God kind of miraculously came and aided him in constructing it. And so it was almost as if the menorah built itself. So what's strange is that if God ultimately was going to come and erect the menorah for Moshe, so then why did he direct Moshe in the first place to have to go ahead and try to create the menorah himself? There's a very beautiful idea which is referenced below in this week's MJ Express through Brother Labe, and also is really an idea brought down by the Sfas Emes, a great Hasidic Rabbi in 18th century Poland. And he says as follows: there are things in life, many things in life, which are very difficult for us to do. God's desire is that we try our hardest to achieve them. We try our hardest to accomplish these tasks. Sometimes we can't do it. Sometimes even after 1, 2, 10, 50 attempts, we still are unable to conquer it. Whether it's a physical task or more fundamentally, whether it's a spiritual task, a moral task, trying to conquer a character trait within ourselves, trying to reach a new height, reach a new level in our spiritual growth. We just try and we can't do it. God tells us, keep trying, keep pushing, keep striving, keep struggling. Because in the end of the day, I'm going to be the one that's going to help you do it. The Medrash says, Il mole HaKadosh Baruch Hu ozro efshar. If God wouldn't help us with certain things, with certain tasks, with overcoming certain ambitions and certain negative drives within us, we couldn't do it on our own. And yet our obligation is in order to try and do it, in order to try our hardest, and to make room for God to come in and do his part. The Talmud says elsewhere, open up a small hole, a hole the size of a pin, and God will open up a much broader expanse for us. We have to open that hole, and even if we're not able to broaden it and to deepen it, God will do that part. It's our job to make room for that to happen, to fertilize the ground for God to be able to come and plant his beautiful, beautiful blossoms. Let's keep in mind the menorah whenever we're going through something challenging. Remember that it's